Is the EU the best place on earth? Peter thinks so.
Yes.
Apple, maybe not so much. But we're going to answer the question definitively on today's Not So Critical Update.
Well, the answer is no.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and move on to tomorrow. But before we do, I just want to throw in a couple of plugs. One, we're going to talk about the FBI and how they're... I'm just kidding.
Like and
go
subscribe.
ahead and subscribe, comment, join our Discord. We can have some discourse on Discord. Anyway.
Well, so what we promised yesterday was that we would come back and hammer Apple again. So, Peter, why did you add this article to the rundown?
Yes.
Introduce the article for us.
So, Apple are being forced to allow apps to be installed on iDevices which don't come from the App Store. So it's called side loading. It just means that you can install something from someone else other than the official Apple blessed location. Like with Google Play on Android, which on Android you can install an app that doesn't come from Google Play. But with Apple, you traditionally haven't been able to. And there's been a lot of many explanations from them why it's just not possible and it's just not allowed. And if it would just destroy the app ecosystem because you couldn't be able to trust anything. And because of new legislation that's coming into force in the EU, they now have to allow doing this because they have an effective monopoly on things that you install on your devices. And that shouldn't be allowed.
Which has been their entire business model for decades.
Yeah, and they take 30% of any money that's made through their apps, and they won't allow apps that there's a lot of lawsuits with Epic Games and Spotify. Even Facebook, who are trying to sell things through their apps, and they can't. And they refuse to pay the 30% because it's a really high commission. 30% is a lot.
So let's talk about. Let's do a quick history lesson first, and how side loading only became a term since the christening of mobile phones, smartphones. Prior to that, we just installed software. Microsoft and Linux, obviously, but we'll stick with Windows for the example, has just kept doing this. Sure, they tried to do something with their Windows Store. It doesn't really work because that just doesn't work. But they also include a very cool feature on all Windows machines. And that is that they verify certificates of EXEs, of installations, right? So let's say you go on a really dodgy website because you want some tool or program and you try to install it. Windows will warn you like, hey, we don't know what this is. We don't recognize it. We don't trust it. And it's doing that by verifying its certificate or lack of certificate compared to you download the newest, fucking Spotify app, Spotify from Spotify.com. You download that, you install it. Windows checks its certs and says, okay, this is good. We know who this is. You're totally good to install this. This is how Apple would solve that problem if they were going to do that. I guarantee you they're not going to.
Incidentally, all those errors and alerts are why I turn off the UAC controls in Windows and run everything as administrator.
Which you absolutely should.
It's the easiest way to get around that stuff.
That's terrible advice.
Seasoned.
You shouldn't do that?
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Can I just say one other piece of news that I heard recently, which I totally forgot about until we start recording, which is that EU is also forcing Apple to allow people to repair their own devices. They have created a set of 300 different components that you can order, including like the special screws and the thingies and whatever. So you're allowed. Yep. So thank you, EU regulations.
Rights to repair, huh?
Indeed.
I don't know. EU's starting to win me.
Yes,
that was easy.
Well, I am a huge rights to repair advocate. I think this is massive news. I did not know that, Peter. That's big.
I'll tell you
Also,
what,
did we talk about the
let's talk about next
USB-C? Did we talk about the USB-C also? That's
Oh, no,
another
we didn't
thing that the
really talk
EU is
about it,
doing.
but the EU is doing
forcing them. They're forcing all iPhones by 2025,
All
2026.
devices. Yeah.
All devices made by Apple has to conform to USB-C.
I think we
Was
did
it
talk
everybody?
about that.
Yeah.
I think we
Okay.
did. I think we did talk about that.
A lot of attacks on Apple lately, but the side loading thing, this is a huge win, massive win, both for I think free markets, and just freedom, digital freedom. This is we've talked about Apple Store and the Google Play Store being a duopoly of sorts. So
I wonder if this is a case where, like we see a lot of times U.S. regulations will get applied to the world because the U.S. is such a large market that if they have to make changes for the U.S., they'll just do it for everyone. I wonder if this is a case where these are big enough changes for the EU that the U.S. could also benefit from that, which would be great.
I really hope so.
Well, from a factory perspective, I feel like it would be more effective for Apple to just conform, to just bend over and take it. And no, really, because, well, in regards to not the side loading and not the right to repair, only the USB-C. The side loading stuff, I think, will be region based. And they can very easily implement,
because that's just software.
And I can guarantee you they're kind of going to be sought after. These iPhones are going to be sought after. Or alternatively, if you buy a US phone, or sorry, reverse that. If you buy a European phone, an iPhone, and you bring it over to America, maybe they'll like soft lock it. Like you can't activate it on a network, or I don't know. We'll see. This might spawn some other problems.
So Peter convinced John, who now agrees.
I know. I did not.
The EU is the best place on earth.
No, I'm already over it. Actually, fuck.
It's just a passing infatuation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Back
maybe
to
he's all
corporate
right.
America.
Yeah, I know.
Jesus God.
All right, what do we have tomorrow? Oh, more social media stuff for tomorrow. TikTok and Twitter.
Fun.
It's going to be great. Peter, did you have something to add?
Speaking of social media, come join our Discord. We have lots of fun.